Hey guys, today I want to take you through the area on the side of our house and show you what my plans are to transform it into a lush, tranquil little secret garden of your dreams. Well, of my dreams. Hey guys, my name is Brad. I'm a gardener here in Northeast Ohio, Zone 6B, and today we're taking a look at the design plan I have for the side of our house that leads us from the front to the back that has just been a boring grass pathway. Now, it may look a little right now, but the design plan is in motion and I think it's gonna come out looking absolutely amazing. So when you first come into this area from the front yard, I wanted you to feel engulfed, enclosed, not fully being able to see everything that's going on in here. I already planted a calicantha, which is a proven winners variety, the smaller flowered one. I'll put the name on the screen, but it gets about 5 to 6 foot tall and wide. It will need moved back into this area a little bit just so that it has room to develop. And then on the other side, to match leaf shape but still provide a difference in seasonality, is a brandywine viburnum, which will start to bloom in early summer, late spring, early summer, and this will bloom during summer. Then we also place this Katsura maple. Now this is gonna get about 15 foot tall and about 12 foot wide. It'll grow tall enough to be above us, and I'll make sure to limit up. But from there, you'll be able to walk in and under the maple and get that sense of, envelopment, which I'm after. From the front here on, my plan is to cascade some shrubs into perennials and maybe even leave some room for some annuals. That's still up to debate, but I want to use a lot of flowiness in here. So I'm going to go in with some more Sporobolus heterolepis, which is a native plant for us. That's prairie dropseed, provides a beautiful mound. And over here we have Pennisetum, which for me is starting to become quite seedy, and I don't necessarily want that. I would rather have a native spread a little bit versus a non-native. Though I love the form and the flowers on this, I just don't want to be pricking out a ton of babies along the way and dealing with that. Whereas prairie dropseed actually does not seed very much, if at all. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but out of the two, I'm gonna go with that one for sure. What you see as far as the orange flags are the lines for the gravel that will blend our salvage sandstone pavers. They were pool coving, which goes around the edge of a pool. They were taken out, so they have a little bit of cleanup we have to do. I think it's like some rubber or silicone type of stuff on the edge on some of it, but I'm liking some of the raw edges and some of the cut edges to give it not only a little bit of age, but also modernness. But it'll be transitioned with gravel to the next part, which is our landing spot. As you walk through the gravel and then onto our next area, my plan here is to put in this bench. Now this is a vintage mid-century modern bench that I'm not quite sure what it's made out of, but it's seen better days. But I picked it up for 15 bucks at our local Goodwill, and I like it. I want to keep it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a light sanding best I can, and then give it a fresh coat of paint with something that'll keep it more durable. Maybe like maybe an oil-based paint would be best, so that water will bleed off of it, and then we can still get some years out of it until I find the next one. They're not hard to come by, but why throw something out when it's got so much character? Above me, you can see our rising sun redbud, and this will stay, but we've got bad news. Last year, I kind of knew something was going on with this side of the tree when the leaves were getting kind of like this curly bumpiness to them, but nothing was really visible. No bumps, no insect damage or anything. But when I got this tree, it already had a big gash in it, and it was a gamble. It was free, but why not? And it grew up and grew on this really great side trunk that is quite healthy. In fact, we've got new growth on the bottom, but I made a big mistake last year. I went through and limbed this up quite a bit. It grows really, really fast. And I did a lot of pruning on it, and then this year, it died on this side. So we're gonna come through and we're gonna cut this off. But there's a lot of new growth that we can sit here and decide which is gonna stay and which is gonna go. I will say Rising Sun, for me, doesn't bloom all that crazy. Now, it could be because there's a lot of new growth on it and it needs a second year to do it. I thought some of the growth was a lot older and maybe it just needs some fertilizer, which we still have to do in our garden. Below me, I have a Dobbs Frosted Juniper, which will stay. We have a First Editions Rose of Sharon, which is a white blooming one. I'll put the name on the screen, and it's more columnar. And then below it we have Coreopsis, which is Zagreb. That's gonna go. But these three elements are staying. And then behind me I have a pinpoint blue and gold Chamaecyparis. Now, this one actually is in quite a bit of shade, so its colors aren't that great. But I don't think at this point I could safely move it to where it could get more sun and be happy. And I'm not sure that I want to shock it at this point. So it's doing good, we'll just leave it there. But below me, we have created a transition spot with the sandstone. And we have some keeping flow with the landings at the front and in the back of the path. And then we created some that do come and lay this way with the bench, just to give it a bit of uniqueness and a little bit of tension. I really like this, but there's one thing that I didn't follow a recommendation on. That recommendation came from Yulia of YU Garden. Now, me and Yulia are really good friends, and I gave her a call and asked her opinion, and I have a golden rule in this house. Whatever Yulia says, do it. And she advised that we put the fountain feature right here across from it. And I thought it would be correct. I brought it over, and then when I brought it over, I kept looking at it, and I looked at it for a few days, entering and exiting, and it just didn't feel right. So I guess this is going to be the one time that I say I'm not going to agree with Yulia. And it's not bad. This is my garden, and she knows that, and she agrees that do whatever I want. It was a suggestion, and it didn't feel right to me, and that's okay. So actually right where you're at is where our fountain is. So let me flip the camera around and show you what we'll be looking at from there. So we're running out of daylight, but I wanted to show you as you come off the landing of where I'm sitting right now is where the fountain will be. Now remember, everything is just staged right now. Everything needs to be leveled in and everything needs to be moved around essentially. We have some dirt to move, we have dirt to take out, we have pathways to put in and edge in, and we also have stones to get cemented in. I think that's the route I'm going to go for the best option, and so that they remain stable. So that fountain will also get a base below it so that it remains level, and it's going to be carrying a lot of weight. This is actually a bowl from Crescent Gardens, who we've worked with in recent years, and this is about 30 inches wide, which is phenomenal. It can be used as a planter, but it can also be plugged up right here in the center there to be a fountain. And that's what I want to do. I want to create a moment of water movement, noise, to also drown out the busy road that we live on. So as we exit the seating area, we're going to be putting in the beautiful First Flame Maple. Now we've had a few days of extreme heat, so obviously the color has wound down to this beautiful medium green with the orange tips, which it'll keep putting out as the summer goes on. So we'll get that little nod of the peachy orange color, which I really like, because the peachy orange is actually going to be one of the main colors in this garden to work off of. So bringing that color in up high in both the First Flame and in our Rising Sun, and a little hint of it in the edges of our Katsura, really ties the whole space together. From there, I'm not quite sure what I want to do on this side, but I did bring in over this Chamaecyparis, which is, now again, Roby told me how to pronounce this, which is going to grow slow. But my idea is it'll cover up our air conditioning unit, which I still need to finish off the edge right here to mask it further. I've been using some of these stakes before I got the trees in to kind of figure out where I wanted things. We're also using the two mugo pines, Valley Cushion and the Pesto, in this area, which on each side up to the tree and back through here, we're going to start a little high and bring it down low. From there, we're going to have right across from the bench just a quiet moment, a moment of just some ground covers, and then picks back up really kind of at a knee height up to the fountain, so you can see that. And then again, it goes back behind that Katsura up into some height. So help me out. What do you think should go along here? I'm thinking about putting some type of trellis in this area. We just got a beautiful new clematis from Proven Winners. The Moonlight one, the black leaved with the pink blooms. I'm thinking maybe that comes over here. Or I also have a chocolate vine, though chocolate vines don't bloom after spring. The foliage is really interesting and it's a fast grower as well, and I think it would look really cool. But we also have this fig tree. This is a something brown, Turkish brown fig. Though the foliage is really cool and this was all 1 year's growth, the plant doesn't do anything else for me. So I'm kind of debating if this should go or should it stay. I also have the options of these samples of Spice Cowboy Korean Spice Viburnums that will get about 10 foot tall and only about 4 foot wide. They're supposed to be a little bit faster growing. We'll see. But I'm not sure if that's the vibe either for this area, and I may use them somewhere else. So if you have any ideas of plants, let me know. I'm mostly interested in maybe some of the perennials. Right now, I only have 2 in mind, which are Sporobolus heterolepis, Salvia caradana, or something similar, depending on what I can find locally, and then possibly Roseanne geranium. Not sure on that one. I don't know if this area requires that plant or asks for that plant. And you would think I'd want some coneflowers in here, and I'm still on the fence of whether or not I do. But I'm mostly looking for a good shrub layer and then also a really nice flowy, relaxed feel in here. Before we go, I just want to show you the sandstone that we're working with. It's a really great product, and I'm really glad that we were able to get it and reuse it in a new way. Now, there are some plants in here that we still do need to take out, such as my grandma's peony, which actually may stay. We have a random rose over here, which is Parfuma Bliss. We have some random coneflower plugs still. And then pretty much everything else is going to go over here, aside from Amsonia Hubertii, which is right there. And I actually want to add more of that because it's such a great native plant that's so texturally interesting and will add to the fall layer. We also have some pruning to do, so, you know, don't strike me out yet on how it looks, how the garden looks, period. But this whole area, pretty much from the front here back, will start getting a bit of a reno. Though this is a quick video, I just want to get us interested and the brain and ideas working on this area. There's a few things I do want to mention as far as other materials that I'll be using. As far as the gravel, we're going to go with a quartz gravel that we used on our patio, and I'll show you that on the screen now, which will take it from here and transition us right into the patio. We're also going to come in with steel edging to keep the gravel and the dirt separated. And then aside from that, I don't believe there's any other material. I debated on bringing in maybe some rocks into this area, maybe some larger ones. I don't know how we'd get them in. I don't know how big I can get them. I don't know where I'd get them at this point, but it's something that I'm thinking about. Maybe just nestling them in to where they just peek out a little bit. I also need to match the fountain, our Crescent Gardens container, to the base, which I think is going to be done with a stain. And then From there, we just need to figure out what plants we want to go with. I'm really excited for this. I hope you are excited for this because this coming week, I think it's time. I think we're going to start getting this ripped up and ready to go. And I can't wait. I can't wait for the transformation. I hope you're really excited about it. I'm going to go in now because it's becoming nighttime and I want to start coming up with a planting list, and then maybe we can talk about that next, see what your guys' opinions are, and go from there. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you hit subscribe. I hope you're ready for this journey. This is going to be the next big thing that we do before we start getting into a lot of the annual planting and perennial planting that we have to do. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video.